this is where MAGA comes to talk. Oh, man, another great day for MAGA world, for America, for our favorite president, Donald Trump, and, of course, the American people, because things are going so well, so perfectly. In fact, if we tried to make things go better than they're going, we wouldn't be able to do it. This is like awesome. If you're new to my channel, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. You'll love my content, I promise you. There's a new Rasmussen poll out. Now, I'm not big into polls, but the liberals have been obsessing over these fake news polls. And Rasmussen, who's considered the gold standard for polling, even among the fake news media, has Trump's approval rating up 7 points. They're calling it a surge. And it is a poll of likely voters, which is the most scientific polling sample you can have for a political poll. So President Trump way up in the latest polls, which is, of course, good news. For over 3 hours, but this is the first time I've talked, so I gotta get my voice going here. The American people need relief. Well, that relief is coming in the form of Donald John Trump. He's doing so many great things. So he's up in the polls, surging in the polls, which means the American people are on his side. Don't believe all these fake news stories and fake polls. President Trump is doing very, very well. And we're getting all kinds of relief from President Trump. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of things, a lot of big moves happening here. A lot of big moves. What I'm going to lead with today, there's several big stories. One I'm going to cover right at the top of the next stream at 6 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, you know, I got my ice jacket. Should I wear it to Home Depot? There's several big stories. And I'm going to cover them all in detail on the next stream at 6 a.m. Eastern, or as we call Mar-a-Lago time here on the East Coast. And one of them is Elon Musk has uncovered what very well may be one of the largest criminal conspiracies in history. He gave an interview with Larry Trump on Fox News, and Elon told Larry Trump that DOGE has found at least 100,000 federal employees who were collecting unemployment benefits and their government salary at the same time. This is a major felony, which I would imagine would result in prison time. At least 100,000, he said. And there's so many doing it, there's got to be some type of organized criminal operation going on for these federal workers in such large numbers to commit such a high-risk crime. So that's one story I'm going to cover. That's some hardcore fraud right there. You or I would go to prison for doing something like that. It's pretty bad. And I wonder how long that's been going on. That's insane to me. And, you know, do they have to check in regularly at the unemployment office? What is going on there? Almost everything in this government, in the federal government's a fraud, isn't it? DOGE has just got not even the tip of the iceberg. But more will be revealed. I mean, that's crazy. At least 100,000 federal workers collecting their government salary, which is not a little bit of money. They get paid a lot in the federal government and unemployment at the same time. I mean, that's crazy. Crazy criminal. There's got to be a major criminal operation going on there. And another thing that came out today that, yeah, DOGE is amazing. I mean, DOGE, those guys deserve, welcome. Tom Snodgrass just subscribed. Welcome. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for subscribing, Tom. I appreciate that. Now, there was a story late last week from one of the media monitoring organizations that all of the coverage on our great Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has been 100% negative, that the media have not had one positive story about Pete Hegseth. And then Pete Hegseth announced yesterday that he is firing a huge chunk of the generals and admirals in the military. He says we have too many 4-star generals and admirals out there. And he was comparing, I'm going to do the breakdown. He went through the breakdown of how many 4-star and 5-stars. We don't have any 5-stars anymore, but we did in the Second World War. He did a breakdown on how many 4- and 5-star generals and admirals we had in the Second World War compared to how many 3- and 4-stars we have now. And it's just an overbloated bureaucracy. So he's firing a ton of the highest ranking officers in all branches of the military. That's one of the reasons that they're after him. He's doing things that you're not supposed to do, like actually run the Defense Department. These DOGE guys, they're not just brilliant. I mean, they're taking huge risks. Oh, Dan Bongino is on radio silence, no doubt. One day he'll pop out with a press conference with Kash Patel and Pam Bondi with some major arrests. Believe me, he's working on stuff. You know, I couldn't believe the breakdown of how many generals and admirals we have. The waste of money, and it's also a lot of woke garbage and ways to steal money and things like this. I don't have a 401k. I love how all these trolls have 401ks. That's right. It's all corruption. The whole government is corruption. It's almost as bad as I was talking a few weeks back. The British Navy has more admirals than they have combat ships in their Navy. That's not a joke. You can look it up. It's crazy. That's right, Newt. We're taking our country back. I mean, the country is like, what percentage of the federal government is corrupt? I mean, almost all of it. It's crazy. You know, it's just nuts. But it's ending. And it's setting a whole new trend. Yeah. Oh, these DOGE guys are the most hated people in the history of Washington by the Permanent Washington class. They've never hated a group of people like this because they're doing things that you're not supposed to do. Trump's approval rating is up, Joe. Trump's approval rating, latest Rasmussen, a poll of likely voters, President Trump's approval rating has surged up 7 more points. So his approval numbers are through the roof. Sky high, Mike, that's right. And I did post the Rasmussen poll on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. That's right. That's right. He's very popular. Just won the national election, man. You're Canadian, and even you like Trump. Yeah, my wife and I started watching a Canadian show a couple weeks ago. We're kind of binging it here and there. Corner Gas. Any of you guys ever watch Corner Gas? Pretty funny. That's right. A businessman takes it. This is why they've always said you can't have a businessman as president. Because they knew if they had a businessman, he'd root out all their corruption. Governments bloated around the world, yeah, but the United States is funding the governments of the world. Right? That's the problem. We're getting ripped off from everyone. Our own people in Washington and countries around the world are just ripping off America. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes on. So Trump's approval rating surging ahead, up 7 points in the latest Rasmussen. That's certainly something to celebrate. I'll go over that. Now, those of you that are new to my channel, I host a morning radio show that's on a whole bunch of radio stations, and I'm live from 6 until 9 a.m., morning drive, weekday mornings. So my next stream, I'll be here on YouTube and the radio, And you can call me live on the air. I take live phone calls. So you can call me on the air, whether you agree or disagree. Although, how could anyone disagree with me, right? How could you disagree? Trump's doing so well. Well, thank you, Michael. I do appreciate that. And now, as we speak, Antifa are back at the University of Washington. Did you see this? Antifa and Palestinian terrorist supporters are setting fires and doing all kinds of craziness at the University of Washington. Who's deluded? Ronan R. With your Ukrainian. Are you Ukrainian with your Ukrainian colors? Who's deluded, Diane? Well, I pray for our leader, the President of the United States, and, of course, our great country. Yeah, I thought Antifa, Biden said Antifa doesn't exist. It's an idea, it's a thought. Well, tell that to the people that are getting crap burned down at the University of Washington. They're saying they're Antifa. Mm-hmm. Yeah. $3 a.m. in Wyoming. It is 4:56 a.m. here on the East Coast. I have met Trump, yes. I met him at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know when the tariffs will go down. They will go down eventually. Yeah, I agree. Ukraine and Russia need to work this out on their own. I mean, they're both at fault for the war. Biden is too. 9:57 a.m. in Northern Ireland. Wow. You're like in the future. Mm-hmm. The tariffs are good, Joe. Tariffs are good. Very good. As we can see. Mm-hmm. I don't go to Vegas. Never been to Vegas. Well, Ukraine was poking the bear. Kept pushing to join NATO when Putin said, no, don't do it. And they kept trying to, so they aggravated Putin a lot. And then Biden said that Putin could take some of Ukraine. So then he did. Exactly. If tariffs are bad, why do all these other countries tariff us? Liberals are just so stupid. They don't even understand what they're saying. They put these words in the chat. They don't even understand what they're saying. All these countries are ripping us off. Like I was talking yesterday, South Korea would not exist if it was not for the United States. And we're still protecting South Korea. They charge us 54% tariffs on imported U.S. agricultural products. Our tariff on them is only 9%. Why is South Korea ripping us off like that? Why is it okay for South Korea to have a 54% tariff and we only have a 9%? Doesn't make sense. Tariffs are good when President Trump's increasing them. We're protecting the whole world, Shane. You're absolutely correct. These countries around the world are ripping us off, and President Trump said enough. Enough. Mm-hmm. That's right. I don't know what the individual tariffs are on each country. And it's usually not one flat tariff. They have different tariffs on different types of products. How's America getting ripped off? Oh, my goodness. In so many ways. Not just the rip-off that the countries around the world are doing with the tariffs, but we're paying for the military protection of most of the world. And they're not paying squat. South Korea, what have they done for the United States? What has South Korea ever done for the United States? Or Japan. What have they done for the United States? I mean, you know, how many Americans died in the Korean War, and how much money have we spent securing South Korea from invasion from the north? We still do it every day. And they're ripping us off with 54% tariffs when we only have 9 on them. They're ripping us off after everything we've done for South Korea. If they were the only country doing it, it wouldn't be that bad, but they're all ripping us off like that. But that'll be corrected soon. This is what I don't get with liberals. They have liberals in, you know, these trolls in the chat. They have no problem with the United States giving away billions of dollars and free weapons that cost billions more to Ukraine. Israel buys the weapons from the United States. We don't give Israel weapons. They buy them from us. Ukraine, we just give. And Zelensky's so entitled, he like demands it. Trump's not trying to annex Canada. What Trump's doing with Canada is showing how bad the Canada ripoff of the United States is. He said a couple days ago, President Trump said on the Meet the Press interview over the weekend with Kristen Welker, he says, we don't need anything Canada has. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their water. We don't need their oil. We don't need the cars, the American cars that are made there. We need nothing from Canada, nothing. He says they don't pay for their own national security. We're covering it because they figure we are going to protect them because they border us here in North America. There's American maple syrup, too. We don't even need their Canadian maple syrup. That's right. We have maple syrup right here in the United States. Is Aunt Jemima from Canada? I don't think so. Authentic maple syrup comes from maple trees. We have maple trees in America. That's right. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. As you can tell, this is where MAGA comes to talk. I'm just waiting for Starbucks to open so I can get some coffee. Canada is not important. If Canada didn't exist today, what would change in the world? Oh, we have more than enough trees. Kidding me? Canada is not important. We can live without Drake. Yeah. Yeah, the NHL would probably shut down. If Canada didn't exist, the NHL would fold immediately, right? But other than the NHL, which I think Americans don't even like hockey, really. No, it's not trade. It's a ripoff. Canada has stolen our industry. 90% of the Canadian economy is dependent on the United States. 90%. We're supporting the entire country. Nothing's made in the U.S. Not a lot, but President Trump's changing that. He's bringing manufacturing back to the United States. I haven't had maple syrup in years. It would not be the first ever third term. Franklin Roosevelt was elected 4 times. He died in his 4th term. Yep. Believe me, there's a lot of Americans who want to work in factories in this country. There's nothing Canada makes that's essential that we can't make here in this country. Canada is a first world country. So they're not paying people slave labor in the factories that they've stolen from the United States. Americans will do those jobs. Without the United States, there is no Canada. Canada's healthcare system is 100% funded by the United States. If it wasn't for the United States, the Canadian healthcare system would collapse. Yep. Yeah, India is another one with out of control. They have President Trump says they have the highest tariffs of all. That's why they're working on that. hmm What does LIER spell? Now, we don't need any oil from Canada. We have more oil in the United States than any other country in the world. We have more oil than any other country on the planet. We've been and more coal and more natural gas. It's true. No, we don't need any electricity from Canada. We need nothing from Canada. Nothing. We don't need their tourists either. Nothing. Nothing. No, I'm serious as a heart attack. Trump is always right. It's never been wrong. We don't need a pipeline from Canada. We have our own oil here, our own lumber, our own maple syrup, everything. And they stole our auto industry. I like how President Trump wants to have a 100% tariff on all foreign-made films. They've stole our movie industry and television industry too, Canada. They're ripping us off, and they're thieves. They've stole our auto industry, our movie industry, our television production industry. So many of our factories, they've stolen. We're going to take them back. That's true. The Canadian Prime Minister, this idiot Carney, is going to come down here and kiss Trump's butt, and they'll work something out. Believe me, Trump will work it out. It's a MAGA country. Well, what Trump wants to do is bring the movie business back to Hollywood. I was talking to a caller yesterday, like that new movie Wicked they made in some Eastern European country. It should have been made in Hollywood. I haven't gotten over that they made Star Wars in England. Sucks. No, they make American television shows and movies in Canada and other countries around the world. They have Vancouver double as New York. They've been doing that for years because of taxes in the unions in California, mainly taxes. Oh, Trump's correcting all of that. Yep, a lot of them go to Georgia, but a lot of them go outside the United States. We can live without Ryan Reynolds. The only thing that came out of Canada that we need is William Shatner. That's about it, William Shatner. Can't think of anything else out of Canada that we actually have needed. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. Now, on my next stream, which will be in less than an hour, I'll be taking live phone calls. So you can call me and call me out if you agree or disagree. No, we could live without Keanu. I like Keanu Reeves. We could live without him. But no, what President Trump's doing is amazing. With the tariffs and everything else. Yeah, DEI over talent. That's very true. That's very true. Make America great again. That is right. That is exactly right. We could live without Jim Carrey, too. Did I just say what? OMG, did you just say that? What did I say? Prices are coming down. They'll come down more. That's right. How could you not love MAGA and President Trump? Canada fought with us on the beaches of France on D-Day. Yeah, well, that was a fight for Europe more than us. What have they done for us? What has Canada as an ally done for the United States? Like I was talking El Salvador as an example. El Salvador very well may be the first true ally of the United States. They're taking in all these terrorist gang members, these illegals, into their prisons in El Salvador. And for what? They're not, you know, these other countries that we've been allied with, like NATO or the allies of the Second World War, that was self-preservation for them. They needed us. El Salvador, very little gain, if any, for helping us. They're alienating the rest of Latin America, and they're doing us a great favor by taking in these. They very well may be the first true ally of the United States, El Salvador. El Salvador doing things to help the United States without personal gain. Like in the American Revolution, the French helped us, right? They gave weapons to the colonial army, to Washington's army. But that was self-serving because the French hate the British. They were always at war, and they were trying to screw the Brits. I appreciate their help, but it was self-serving. What El Salvador is doing is the first true ally of this country, helping the United States without personal gain. I can't think of another country that we've been allies with that has helped us for totally selfless reasons. Do you have some others? What other ally has helped the United States for non-selfish reasons? Like I was talking about South Korea earlier. Yeah, well, we protect them from North Korea invasion and the Chinese. Right? As an example. Right? Japan's our ally. We conquered them after they attacked us. What have they done for us? Europe is our ally. What has Europe done for us? Exactly. El Salvador is the first country I know of that's helped this country for selfless reasons. It's amazing. Australia are allies. Yeah, Australia is good. They're far away, but they're good. We have no problem with Australia. But what have they done for us? They're good friends. I like the Australians. Got a lot of people that watch and listen to me in Australia. But what has Australia as a nation done to help the United States? I got no beef with Australia. It's not Europe. How did Canada help us on 9/11? Are you kidding me? What, release a press release from the Prime Minister's office? No, this hat's from the United States. Every day I have to show this to some troll. This is an official Trump hat made in the USA. Right? Made in the USA. No, I got no beef with Australia, but what have they done for the United States? Yeah, exactly. These countries have not done much to help the United States, if anything. Listen, you can never trust Germany. All Germans are descendants of Nazis. I mean, you can't trust them. And, the unification of the East and West, a lot of Germans grew up, or their parents grew up, under Soviet occupation. So they don't think like free people. Exactly. All right, let me put my seatbelt on, guys. Hold on. Starbucks will be opening shortly. All right. Dark MAGA mode is engaged. It's rainy season here in Florida, otherwise known as hurricane season. So, when I pull out of my development, there'll be light. I got a couple coffee cups on the floor on the passenger side dinging. I gotta clean my car out. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. We are all blessed in America to be living through Trump's second term. I love yesterday, MSNBC had to do a live on-air apology to Kash Patel. That was beautiful. They should have had Joe Scarborough or Rachel Maddow do it. They had some nobody do it that I've never heard of before. But they still did it. I know the president calls them MSDNC, but I like MS-13BC, since they're supporting this MS-13 terrorist. What time did everybody in the chat wake up this morning? Or maybe you've been up all night. Today I got up at 1:45 a.m., 1:45. I set my alarm for 1:30, but I laid in bed for like 15 minutes. And then I got up. It's 5:16 a.m. here on the East Coast. Up and the AC on. In Florida, you need the AC even at 5:17 in the morning. Well, you don't need it unless you want to be hot. So what I'm going to start with today at 6 on the show is the huge financial scandal and criminal activity that Elon Musk and DOGE uncovered. I'm going to talk about this great news story with Pete Hegseth, who's Pete Hegseth is probably the best Secretary of Defense this country's ever had. He's doing an incredible job. And a bunch of other things too, including the Antifa riots going on at the University of Washington right now. Riley Gaines was speaking yesterday at a school in Portland. I can't remember the name. Was it University of Portland? I can't remember the name of the school, but Riley Gaines was speaking in Portland yesterday, and what they did to her was crazy. The trans activists, a lot of people call them trans Tifa. I like that. That's a good one. They were like attacking the school and her. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Well, you know, leftists can't handle it when they don't get their way. And the days of getting their way are over. The conservatives in this country are the majority. That's just the way it is, man. MAGA is amazing. I agree. Make sure you subscribe if you are new to my channel. While people got about crazy time, 1 a.m., 10 p.m., 4:40 a.m., 3:45 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 3:30 a.m. Someone said tariffs don't work. Tariffs are funding all these countries around the world with these out. You know, look at Canada. on some products, they have over 200% tariffs on some products coming in from the United States. You know, why is it okay for these countries around the world to have high tariffs on us, but we're not allowed to have tariffs on them? That makes no sense at all. 2:20 a.m.? Well, no, not what time it is now. What time you got up? Or have you been up all night? I set my alarm for 1:30 every morning. Sometimes I'll reset it to go off at 2 or something, but, you know. 4:20 a.m., wow. What sleep? Yeah, right. Now, guys, if you'd like to support my channel, you could become a member. And if you become a member to my channel, you get access to the member-only emojis, and your name stands out in the chat in a special color, so you can be seen in the chat more. So if you'd like to become a member and support my channel, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate that. You're working midnight to 8 a.m. That's actually not a bad shift, midnight to 8 a.m. You know? I don't think that's a bad shift. Dark MAGA mode engaged. You love Trump and Israel. Heavy Trooper, he's not really negotiating with Iran. President Trump said he would settle for nothing less than 100% dismantling their nuclear program. So MAGA is the majority. That's why President Trump was just elected, and we won the majority in both houses of Congress. That's right. If he's not negotiating, he told them the way it is. Yep, Trump always wins. That's right. I have no interest in India and Pakistan, tell you the truth. They can work that out on their own, just like Russia and Ukraine. You work for a company owned by China. Oh, my goodness. What company is that? The federal government? Stealth Mode just became a member. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Empty shelves? No, our shelves are overflowing. I went to the grocery store yesterday. No empty shelves. Yeah, the countries around the world will all cave to Trump because they need the American business. The United States is the largest economy in the world and the largest consumer nation in the world. And these other countries cannot survive without the United States buying their stuff. Food prices are down. Why did people stop traveling to the United States? I was not aware people stopped traveling to the United States. Well, unless you're counting the illegals from the southern border. Yes, people have stopped traveling to the United States illegally through our southern border. That's true. That's very true. But other than that, I have no idea what you're talking about. Canadians are still coming to Florida. That's another liberal urban legend. The liberal media just make things up. They got no facts. They just make crap up. You heard, yeah, from who? MSNBC? Rachel Maddow? No, tourism is up. Tourism is up. This is not tourist season right now. Tourist season is after New Year's. That's when the snowbirds come to Florida. Oh, I love Trump Duffy. Absolutely. Don't you? Now, if you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. My next stream will start in about a half an hour, and I'll be taking live calls. All right? I'll see you then. Take care.